the channel. We get to look at more posters today, so I hope you're excited for that, because I know I am, as next week, as of this video, next week, that's right, we get to have some interviews happen. We get to see the first person who did one of the posters for year 3, and then after that, well, the week after, we'll get to see some more people. So stay tuned for that. I can't wait for you guys to see that. I love seeing other people's art, and I'm really glad that people were able to participate in this. So without further ado, we get to start today. Here we have the Gasp poster. This actually comes from a piece of photography that I did back when I was in Photography 1, and I decided to take a picture of this really cool skateboard deck that had this image on it on the bottom with the left. So she's looking over there with this comic book style kind of like burst happening behind her. And I would imagine she'd be gasping or saying something. I decided to go with gasp because it was simple and something that I could translate well up to the top here. In this nice like grainy blue that came from the original image, I wanted to keep that through most of it. Of course, there is like that seam that you can see, but I still wanted to keep the grain behind everything, and having this gasp actually feed out into the grain, I really liked doing that, along with the separation with this border that's going around the entire thing, having two very just distinct gasp, and then where the gasp is coming from. I enjoyed making this. It actually does come from our inspiration being this poster initially. It says I'm perfect down here with Plato's theory, with this part of him being very wavy, pretty much two very distinct parts. And I thought of something I could take and pointillize and also just make it wavy. But I ended up going with this more comic style because I just really like the image and how it kind of like tied back to the original one, kind of having that very like grainy aesthetic. I really liked where it began, and throwing it in this like very arbitrary box. The image itself is a little bit bigger than this. Like you can see when I hover over that box, it's showing it's bigger, but I wanted to just focus on her and the aspects of the movement that she's actually giving. With that being said, again, I really enjoyed making this. This is a really fun poster to make. Again, still at the beginning of the year, which is crazy. But yeah, using that very nice blue that was already present in this and just using it as the background. Like our first poster with the She Loves Me, it's kind of similar to that, but it is darker because of not only the original image, but also the grain adding kind of a little bit of a shadow throughout the entire thing. Yeah, having a comic book typeface to also supplement the entire thing, I think it works really well because you get to look at the full thing. And like I said before, it's just like that expression that comic books always have. And I really enjoyed making this. So with that being said, that's the first one. Let's go on to the second. So for our second poster, we actually have this Mario World Repair poster. And this came from initially like a class project that I did, but I eventually just turned it into this. And I've found out that Nintendo actually used to have a repair service, like an actual repair service, and it was pretty much like different posters of like Mario in this van or like with a toolbox, and they offered to like repair your like N64 and that kind of stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, of course, this service doesn't exist anymore, but finding this poster, I just thought that was pretty cool and wanted to keep up with that. Now, of course, also using this older timey looking image here that I found in one of my textbooks. It's very like a paper cutout style, and I immediately thought of like Paper Mario. So I wanted to use some like the shoes and like the body are from Paper Mario, and I just hid it behind that toolbox there. And of course, also having the Nintendo stuff here. If I ever have to put up prints for this, I probably can't sell this one. I'll probably get sued out of my ass. But we have the Mario-like figure here with his nose on it. I took the editing of the worlds here. I took that inspiration from Mario Galaxy with the ship being like his head, and I wanted to also add the nose here so that it's also slightly displaced with the landmass here, so it kind of bulges out. And of course his hat, but I put my logo instead. Again, just trying to like skirt some of those copyright things. I think when I did it for class, I had changed these letters around to not actually say Nintendo, but I just kept it as it was. I believe that's the actual phone number that doesn't work anymore. And of course, I don't know if they came up with the keep your game in high gear slogan or if I just did it on my own. But if they did, I mean, it's a pretty good saying for the repair service. And of course, having the worlds, I put stars in the background with this nice like grayish blue in the background. And then of course, like I said before, the asset of having like this toolbox with a little screwdriver there to make it look like he's still the repairman and he's gonna come in and help you repair your shit. Having everything come together, I enjoyed making this. This is actually the Mario typeface throughout pretty much the whole thing, just not down in here. I forget the typeface I used down for in here, but that was one of the actual like stamps that they would throw onto their posters and give out to places that were authorized to help repair items. And I just decided to use one of these star assets down here as like that stamp or that seal. But yeah, that is going to be our second poster. Again, one that I really enjoyed doing, as it kind of got me more into like characters again. While we get to go into our third poster for today. All right, and for our third poster, we have this duck poster. And immediately, I'm just going to show you this. I actually had this drawn when I first started working at Target, like at 1 December. And I kept a photo of this picture. I didn't keep the actual like physical drawing that I did, but this came from an exercise that I used to do with my aunt, where it was pretty much just you start drawing lines, and wherever those lines happen to like meet up, you try to make a character or just try to make something out of it. And I started off by just doing a bunch of random shapes, just like twists and turns, and it ended up becoming this more duck shape, so I kept adding stuff to it. And I wanted to continue this with just moving some stuff around and making like a duck bill here, and even just making it more like feathered on top, even keeping like that kind of scruff at the bottom where it's just the duck head. The main part I really wanted to keep was this really weird but kind of cool like alien eye that I made with just like a squiggle through it. It was really just meant nothing, but I kind of liked it, and the duck kind of became kind of like punky, and I really liked it. So getting to actually make this poster, I think, was actually the first night that back in August during year 3, I actually went out to Chicago to help my aunt on a set for, I believe, a Lowe's set, where we would just paint cabinets and pretty much they would set all the cabinets up in a kitchen set. And it came out during like Black Friday of 2025, that time, for some of the deals. So if you saw anything like with Lowe's promoting some kitchen sets during Black Friday, I was someone who helped paint those sets, mainly just getting stuff set up. My aunt did most of the painting. I did, just because of her experience and we wanted to look good, I did a lot of the sanding, a lot of like priming, pretty much just making sure they were as smooth as possible before we began painting, while she went around with an airbrush and got everything painted. Those were very long days, because in Chicago at that time it was very warm, very hot, and it was also very humid because it was raining. Like a day that I was there, I think it was the second day that I was there, because I stayed for 3 days. It was extremely warm, and we would spend 10 hours in this unair conditioned warehouse, and I was just sweating my ass off the whole time. But I was having a good time nonetheless, because I was able to just be in this space with some music. It would kind of get drowned out by a lot of the Sanders that we would have, so can't do much about that. But overall, it was a pretty good experience. I made some money doing it, and I was able to go home that night, or like to her apartment that night, and make this poster inspired by the image that I drew back in December of last year. But yeah, that is going to be our third poster. Something super simple, trying to stay true with just this nice beak like orangish yellow that a lot of like cartoon ducks have, and then just this nice lilac kind of purple, kind of to just draw inspiration again from where it started. And I kind of just threw a duck on top, and I decided to go also with just a wacky typeface up here called Double Bass, and I'm just using the trial version because it works in the bold font style, and even having, of course, my logo down there like I was on every poster. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Sorry about the little story. I hope you enjoyed the story, but I mostly hope you enjoyed all of these posters today. And of course, if you could leave me a comment and tell me what your favorite poster of this video was. And of course, you can go to my website and see all of these posters at your own whim, and even jump ahead to see what some of the other posters are and get ready for next week. Just try to figure out which poster came first in our lineup for the collaborations. With that all being said, if you guys could also like the video and subscribe, that would help me out greatly. As we're still semi-new here, we're only a couple months in, so yeah, that's actually quite new. Anyway, that's going to be all from me. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Love yous. Bye.